with Jon and Dany, as we've seen before with Cersei and Jaime. There is a bit of interfamilial closeness, shall we say, in the show. I'm very interested to find out what Dany's, the expression on both of their faces when they find out they're actually quite closely related. Is it going to be one of those moments where it's when I have no idea what's going to happen, how's Dany going to feel when she finds out that she's not actually entitled to the Seven Kings of Westeros? In fact, her nephew, Jon Snow, is supposed to be the king of the Seven Kingdoms.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Happy New Year. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, Game of Thrones has officially confirmed what's going on with Season 8. We believe that we might not see it for a long time, but HBO really doesn't make announcements unless they absolutely have to. We also got some roundabout confirmation on which actors have wrapped filming already, so death predictions, because there are a number of reasons why actors would wrap their filming this early in their schedule. So I'll talk about the release date, then I'll talk about death predictions at the end of the video. Sophie Turner seemingly confirmed that they weren't going to premiere till 2019 in an interview a couple weeks ago. Now HBO is probably making this official statement just to acknowledge that. Usually they don't make official statements like this till somebody from the cast either leaks something or some subtle confirmation of something from behind the scenes starts making the rounds through the press. So once it spreads like wildfire, then they're like, okay, fine, we have to actually say something about this. Entertainment Weekly is making it sound like they definitely plan to premiere in the spring just because they used to use the spring as their premiere date every single season. So it makes sense that they would go back to that for their final season. Like it used to be April every year, but then they slowly started sliding into May. And then finally for season 7, we got that big delay. They've been using Entertainment Weekly for a lot of their big press releases for the last couple of years, mostly because the publication doesn't run spoilers or anything like that, and they just read things verbatim. Like, if HBO wants to get a message out, they'll just use EW as their finger puppets. So they reported last year that they were mulling a release date, like, hey, it might be 2018, might be 2019, because the logic was that they just needed extra time to figure the scripts out. Because like Rick and Morty was a really good example of a show that was delayed for a full year because the writers just could not get the scripts the way they wanted them to. So when it was announced that they had all 6 scripts done, everybody's like, what's the holdup now? It's like you're already filming later in the year, so it's winter in the places that you're filming. That was the reason for the delay for season 7. They just had to wait till later in the year after season 6 so that winter could literally come to the places they were filming. Like episode 1 with the Brotherhood was probably the best example of that. Like you rewind to season 4 when Arya and the Hound are leaving that little homestead and it's all green, all this territory.
He's a good man. His daughter makes a nice stew, and they'll both be dead come winter.
But cut to season 7 and it's buried in snow.
This seems like a good place to spend the night.
These people don't want us here.
So those kind of frustrating practical concerns weren't an issue with season 8. Like it was already going to be winter when they would start filming, around the same time that they started filming for season 7. So it might sound kind of weird, but the problem that they have with season 8 is the way that they're filming is different from the way they filmed episodes before. So they used to have almost 4 film units running simultaneously at times. Typically there's 2 big film units and then like a couple other small ones depending on what they need to do around other parts of Westeros. So in the early seasons, when you're over in the east filming the Daenerys scenes, that's the Dragon unit. The Wolf unit is the one that does most of the stuff that you see in Westeros. When they got to season 3, the characters were so spread out that they needed to add a 3rd film unit. That was the Raven unit. Then really late in the game, around season 6, they added the White Walker unit to film all that Bran White Walker stuff up at the wall. Like when they invaded the Three-Eyed Raven's tree. So whereas in previous seasons, you had more scenes of the show being shot simultaneously, they can't do that as much in the final season because so many of the characters are in the same place. So like you have all this stuff happening at King's Landing with Cersei early in the season, the Golden Company, Euron. You have all the stuff that's happening up at Winterfell. So really, you have like 2 big film units and maybe like some pickup shots with a 3rd film unit. But for the most part, you just can't run that many scenes simultaneously. So it just physically takes them longer to get all the scenes that they need for all the episodes. The bigger concern is also the scale of the productions for each of the episodes. So typically each season you only have a couple big battles. Like you have one big Battle of the Bastards, a big Hardhome. During the final season you'll have something of that scale almost every episode. Now they announce what the directors are, so I'll link that video at the end of this because it implies where the biggest battles will happen. So whereas you used to have like 4 assembly lines, it was okay if one of those assembly lines took twice as long to get one of the episodes out because it was so big. So there are fewer film units, but also on top of that, the episodes take twice as long as they normally would even if you did have those extra bodies to get the scenes out. The light at the end of the tunnel, though, is that you will be rewarded for your waiting with 6 movies instead of 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. Whereas like the episodes have slowly gotten bigger and bigger with each season.
It's massive. I mean, it's by far the biggest television show in the world at this point. We've got 700 crew members and a cast of, I think, 583 named characters, and then just Dothraki number 1 through 3,000. And it really is a cast of thousands at this point. We've shot in, I think, 6 different countries now. And every single day we have at least 2 units running.
They've been teasing that each of the Season 8 episodes will be feature length. And the interesting thing is they'll continue filming principal photography right up to the summer. But Missandei actually just wrapped all of her scenes, making it sound like she either dies really quickly or she just takes off after the first couple of episodes. But I don't think that she would leave Daenerys' presence. So, theory crafting time. They're still filming all the episodes right up to the summer. Why would Missandei leave the show this early in their filming schedule? Unless they're pulling some shenanigans and she'll come back for some inserts for like the last couple of episodes, it really does sound like she dies in the first couple of episodes. But remember, the 3rd episode is the first one that's being directed by Miguel Sapochnik, so that's probably when the big second Battle of Winterfell is going to take place. Not to be confused with the Battle of Winterfell that's getting ready to happen in the Winds of Winter book. But they're also trying to spin this, like HBO and the EW people are trying to spin this as giving George R. R. Martin extra time to finish Winds of Winter. Like, it sucks that we're not going to get episodes for another year, but that'll give George that much more time to get Winds of Winter out. So that certainly puts a damper on people hoping to see Winds of Winter during 2018. There was a chance that he was even going to release 2 books. I think I talked about it during some of my episode videos, but obviously Winds of Winter is the big book that he's finishing. The other one was Fire and Blood, or at least the first volume of Fire and Blood, which is like the complete history of the Targaryen family. It's not exactly his Silmarillion, but it's all this extra material that just did not make the final cut of the main novels. But it's all really good stuff, so he's like, I'll just collect it in a book and release it at some later date. So he has that waiting to go. We might see that before Winds of Winter. But don't worry, even though they're not going to drop new episodes this year, they will have trailers, teasers, images from behind the scenes. They'll still have all kinds of promotional material that they'll drop, so there will be new Game of Thrones for us to pick over and talk about. So no worries there, but if there are any specific bonus videos that you guys want me to do, just let me know in the comments below. There's a new round of the DVD giveaway. All you have to do to enter is just be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. Congratulations to the winner from last week's video, Kevy and Kaz. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. Click here to learn about what's happening with each of the episodes, and click here to listen to Sir Davos talk about what's going on behind the scenes. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.